Welcome to Incredible Crime Stories channel, and today, we have an incredible crime case coming out of the Philippines. This crime, while horrific, also had several twists and turns on who committed this crime and why. It's now considered solved, but let me know what you think. It started out as a typical Monday morning in city of Mohan, Barangay Tisa in Cebu City. The day started with the usual hustle of morning commuters. Around 7 a.m., something unusual caught the attention of several witnesses. A large discarded cardboard box lying conspicuously along the roadside. A security guard from a nearby private subdivision spotted the box initially, but he dismissed it, assuming it had simply fallen off a courier or delivery van. Others passing by noticed a foul odor emanating from the box, with flies swarming around it. Yet no one intervened. Fast forward to 1 p.m., a street sweeper on duty decided to move the box away from the road. However, it was too heavy for him to carry alone. Seeking help, he approached the local barangay office. As they attempted to lift the box, its flaps suddenly opened, and to their horror, an arm popped out. The street sweeper then rushed to the barangay hall, with minds racing from what they had just seen. Captain Ringo Pecana immediately relayed the alarming discovery to the Labangan police station. The police arrived at the scene and confirmed everyone's worst fear. The box contained a dead body. What had been mistaken for discarded garbage was in fact the remains of a woman. By 2 p.m., investigators were meticulously examining the scene. The body was in a gruesome state. The woman had her arms and legs tied with aluminum cables and was wrapped in a white blanket. Her face appeared to have been smashed and burnt off, possibly with cables. Bruises covered various parts of her body, although these could have been post-mortem changes. Despite the meticulous examination, her identity remained a mystery. All they could ascertain was she had dyed blonde hair, was wearing a black sweater and black shorts, and her nails were manicured. These details suggested she was possibly not a local resident of Tisa, but a visitor. Who was this woman? How did she end up here, discarded like trash? These were the questions haunting the investigators as they began piecing together the tragic puzzle. The day after the gruesome discovery, on July 18, 2023, a breakthrough in the case emerged. Authorities matched the description of the identified woman to a recently filed missing person report. The victim was suspected to be Ria Mae Tocmo, a 19-year-old female from Panaybo City in Davao del Norte. Ria May had been staying in Mando City, having flown into Cebu on June 11th, seeking employment opportunities. It is estimated she had been in a Cebu for about 1 month. Investigators reached out to Ria May's friends and family for identification. They confirmed their worst fears. The body was indeed Ria May's. Her favorite black shorts and a distinctive necklace she always wore were unmistakable. Adding to the uncertainty, the relatives recognized the clothes Ria May was last seen wearing. They also noted that her smartphone and wallet were missing. In an effort to retrace her steps, police began gathering CCTV footage from areas where Ria May was last seen alive, including locations in Mando City, where she had been staying. Investigators expanded their search to include inns, suspecting that the white blanket she was wrapped in might have come from one of these establishments. Each piece of evidence brought them a step closer to understanding what happened to Ria Mae Tocmo. But first, who was she? Ria Mae Tocmo was a 19-year-old from Davao del Norte. Her family and loved ones describe her as a kind, obedient, and always prioritizing a family type of person. Despite growing up in a broken family, Ria was known for her considerate nature and eagerness to help others. She was greatly loved by her parents and 2 sisters, who doted on her as the youngest in the family. Her father, Romeo Tocmo, emphasized her gentle demeanor and obedience, highlighting her dedication as a student and her determination to graduate from college to support her family. Ria lived with her eldest sister, Roki, in Panaybo City while attending college. Roki, who owned a business, supported Ria financially and appreciated her help in caring for her niece. Ria's aunt in Sabongo, Cebu, remembered her as a loving girl with no enemies. Initially, Ria studied criminology with dreams of becoming a police officer. However, she later considered shifting to tourism before ultimately deciding to leave her studies altogether to work and contribute to her family's finances. Despite Roki's initial hesitation about her decision to quit school, Ria's resolve won her sister's approval to start working. Unexpectedly, Ria traveled alone to Cebu for a job opportunity with her friend Jewel Smith. She didn't inform her family, who believed she was still in Davao. Ria spent several days at the establishment staff house before relocating to a boarding house in Barangay Look, Mando City with Smith. Ria had been working in a bar and restaurant in Mandaue City right after arriving in Cebu. Her family was unaware of her whereabouts. It came as a shock when they found out she was in Cebu. Ria called her sister and asked for help booking a ticket to Davao to attend a friend's christening on July 21st. Roki surmised that her sister might have opted not to inform them about going to Cebu for fear she would not be allowed to. Ria reassured her family that she was doing fine in Cebu. Tragically, this would be the last reassurance they would receive July 16, 2023. Multiple sources, including Ria's friend Jewel Smith and a vendor from a local food stall near her boarding house in Barangay Look, Mando City, reported that they last saw Ria May on that fateful day, July 16th. The police examined CCTV footage from around the area, and weeks after Ria May's death, crucial footage surfaced. It shows Ria boarding a yellow motorcycle, leaving her boarding house. The driver, a man in an orange-colored shirt. Investigators are now on the lookout for the motorcycle driver, the last known person to see Ria alive. They believe that there's a grim possibility that after traveling a few meters, Ria was forcibly transferred to another vehicle by her assailants. The journey of that motorcycle is key. It traveled towards Cebu City in Panang Diet Road in Barangay Mabalo, then proceeded to Iscario St. Unfortunately, identifying the driver remains a challenge. His face was obscured by a helmet, but this footage has been handed over to the Regional Anti-Cybercrime Unit for enhancement. In the initial phase of the investigation, the police had grim suspicions. They thought Ria's face had been burnt with hot water or acid. Further examination revealed hematomas on her wrists and legs and a stab wound on her side. The autopsy concluded that the cause of death was strangulation. As for her face, it wasn't burnt. It was the effect of decomposition. Significant developments occurred on July 27, 2023, 10 days after Ria was last seen alive. Ria May's missing smartphone finally surfaced. A man handed it over to the Labangan police station, claiming he had bought it from another near Carbon Public Market when he checked the device. He found photos of Ria May, recognizing her as a victim found inside an abandoned box in Barangay Tisa. He immediately reported it to the authorities. This discovery happened just 2 days after he purchased the phone. Fortunately, CCTV footage near Carbon Market captured the man who sold Ria's mobile phone. He was wearing an orange-colored t-shirt, a detail that connected him to the initial investigation. This man had now been tagged as a person of interest in the case. His image, believed to hold vital information about the 19-year-old Rhea Mae Tocmo, was released by the Cebu City Police Station. According to the police, the unidentified suspect first tried to unlock Tocmo's phone, but failed. Unable to bypass the security, he opted to sell it for 1,700 pesos. The police are urging the public to help identify and locate this person of interest. As part of their ongoing investigation, they are still searching for the driver of the motorcycle that we spotted on July 16th, the same day she was last seen alive. On July 29th, out of pure coincidence, officers from the Guadalupe police station arrested Simeon Gabutero Jr., a 22-year-old construction worker, for the dangerous possession of a firearm in Guadalupe, Cebu City. Soon after, police recognized Gabutero as the man in the picture released by the Cebu City Police Office, previously tagged as a person of interest in the Tocmo case. Gabutero, however, insisted on his innocence, claiming he was not the killer of the 19-year-old. In an interview with CDN Digital, Gabutero maintained that he did not know the victim. Upon his arrest, though, he admitted to selling Ria's cell phone. Gabutero claimed he was merely following the instructions of his neighbor, who lived in the same neighborhood in Guadalupe. Gabutero stated that Gabison had given him Tocmo's cell phone on July 16th, instructing him to unlock or sell it. He managed to sell the phone for 1,700 pesos, handing the money to Gabison, who gave him 500 pesos as promised. Gabutaro asserted that he had no idea the phone belonged to a possible murder victim and that Gabison had instructed him. To keep the ownership of the phone a secret, when Gabutaro realized the police were searching for him, he chose not to turn himself in out of fear of being implicated in the crime. During his confession, Gabutaro revealed a disturbing detail. He had seen Gabison allegedly arguing and attempting to strangle the victim. He witnessed his altercation near an elementary school in Barangay Guadalupe, Cebu City. A day before Ria May's body was found stuffed inside a carton and dumped by the roadside, the 22-year-old Gabutaro had a criminal history of participating in a brazen daylight robbery in Toledo City just last June. Alongside another unnamed suspect, Gabutaro allegedly robbed a businesswoman at her home in Cebu City. They made off with 8,000 pesos in cash and valuables, including jewelry and gadgets, worth over 150,000 pesos. Robbery charges were filed against Gabutaro on July 7th, roughly 10 days before he reportedly involved in the tragic death of Rhea Mae Tocmo. On July 30th, to verify Gabutaro's claims, the police tracked down Gabison, who was arrested on an unrelated charge of illegal drug possession. When brought in for questioning, Gabison vehemently denied Gabutaro's accusations. He insisted that he never knew, met, or encountered either Gabutaro or the victim Ria May. As part of the meticulous investigation, the police conducted DNA testing for both Gabutaro and Gabison on August 4th. This forensic examination was crucial in examining any possible connection between the suspects and the evidence found at the crime scene. The authorities left no stone unturned in their pursuit of justice for Ria May. Despite the arrests and ongoing investigation, the police continue to appeal to the public. They urge anyone with information about what happened to Ria May and who might be responsible for her death to come forward. Meanwhile, this concern amongst the public about the rapid identification and apprehension of the suspects. An article written on August 1st expressed suspicion regarding how quickly the perpetrators were found, suggesting there might be more complexities about this case than initially apparent. On August 5th, while the results of the DNA test were still pending, several individuals claiming to have information about the gruesome killing surfaced, causing a flurry of speculation on social media. Among the new voices was a taxi driver who, during an interview with a local radio station, recounted an encounter with the passengers carrying a large empty box on July 17th, the same day Ria May's body was found in Barangay Tisa. According to the taxi driver, one of the passengers was a petite woman with various tattoos, and she was carrying a large, empty box. She was accompanied by a foreign-looking man. The pair had boarded his taxi at B. Rodriguez Street and were heading to a condominium in Barangay Labangan. The taxi driver's descriptions seemed to implicate Jewel Smith, one of Ria May's closest friends. On August 7th, a visibly distressed Jewel Smith went to the Cebu City Police Station to clear her name. Smith asserted her innocence, stating she had not left her boarding house in Barangay Look, Mando City, since clocking out from her job at a bar at AS Fortuna on July 16th. Last July 17th, I was just in Look, my neighbors could testify to that. I really don't like going out, Smith declared. She also denied being on B. Rodriguez Street or in Barangay Labangan on July 17. Smith stood by her previous statements that the last time she saw Ria May was on July 16th. Since the taxi driver's interview, Jewel and her family have been subjected to hate, prejudice, and baseless accusations on social media. Her photos circulated online without her permission, compounding her distress. In response to these developments, the police urge individuals with information about the case to come forward directly to them, rather than turning to social media. Smith is also considering filing charges against the taxi driver for spreading lies and causing undue stress to her and her family. When Ria May did not return to her boarding house the next day, Smith filed a missing person report, which was then referred to the police. As the police continue to investigate, they have taken into account both the taxi drivers and Smith's statements. However, they remain focused on Gabutaro and Gabison as their primary suspects, ruling out Smith and acknowledging her cooperation with their inquiries. On August 10th, Simeon Gabutaro Jr., a construction worker, finally confessed to being the perpetrator. Police Colonel Ironio Dalagdog, chief of the Cebu City Police Office, announced in a press conference that the murder charges would be filed against Gabutaro. This confession came after DNA test results showed samples under Ria May's fingernails match Gabutaro's DNA. Gabutaro admitted to killing Ria May when she visited his boarding house in Barangay Guadalupe early on the morning of July 16th. He claimed that Ria, whom he had met through Facebook, was his girlfriend. They had been in a long-distance relationship since December 5th of the previous year, but had never met in person until that day. On July 16th, they agreed to meet for the first time at Gabutaro's boarding house around 6 a.m. Gabutaro said he became enraged when he discovered that Ria had made multiple Facebook accounts and received messages from other men. His jealousy and anger boiled over, especially considering the money he had been sending her from his meager earnings. Gabutaro, who earned 400 pesos daily as a construction worker, had been sending most of his money to Ria since they became a couple. His frustration grew when he found drug paraphernalia in Ria's bag, feeling that his hard-earned money was being misused. However, to Gabutaro, when he confronted Ria, she laughed at his outburst, which further infuriated him. In a fit of rage, he squeezed her neck. Ria did not scream, but only held on to his hand in an attempt to resist. Jewel Smith, Ria's friend, mentioned that Ria had been drinking before the incident, which had explained her inability to fully resist the attack. Gabutaro also expressed anger that Ria had not informed him of her arrival in Cebu. After realizing she was dead, he wrapped her in a blanket, tied her up with pieces of garter and shoestring, and placed her inside a cardboard box. With the help of another person, he transported her body on his motorcycle and dumped it in an overgrown area in Barangay Tisa. Gabutaro denied burning Ria's face, a detail the medical legal officer explained could have resulted from decomposition, as she hadn't been dead for over 24 hours. Distraught and filled with regret, Gabutaro told the police that he was ready to face the consequences. His confession, detailed in an extrajudicial statement signed on August 10th, also revealed an attempt to frame his neighbor, Roberto Gabison, due to a past dispute. The police confirmed that no evidence linked Gabison to Ria May's death, and Gabutaro's admission cleared him of any involvement. Similarly, no evidence implicated Jewel Smith. Discrepancies in the taxi driver's claims, such as the timing and description of the box, further exonerated her. Gabutaro, in his confession, admitted to killing Ria inside his boarding house at approximately 6 a.m. Additionally, CCTV footage captured Gabutaro attempting to dispose of Ria's body around 10 p.m. the same day. The footage showed him transporting the box containing her body on a motorcycle. However, Gabutaro has remained tight-lipped about the identity of the back rider who was with him at the time. Despite the confession and mounting evidence, Ria May's family were shocked and dissatisfied with the outcome. They firmly believed that Ria was not in a relationship and that the confession tarnished her reputation, adding insult to their grief. Ria's family has called for a parallel investigation into her brutal killing. They questioned the credibility of Gabutaro's confession, stating we cannot accept their investigation because instead of helping us reach justice, it seems they added more to our sadness. The police investigation is adding insult to our injury. The family felt that the allegations made by Gabutaro in his extrajudicial confession were not thoroughly vetted. They criticized the police for not verifying claims that Gabutaro and Ria knew each other since December 2022, or that he had sent money to her through Gcash. The family showed mistrust of the investigation and publicly scrutinized the case. In a press conference on August 11th, Police Mayor Angelito Valizer, chief of Labangan Police Station, responded to the concerns raised by Ria May's family. He urged them to visit the police station to personally review the evidence in their possession. Valizer expressed respect to the family's concerns and emphasized the importance of transparency in the investigation. Meanwhile, a significant development occurred when the motorcycle taxi driver, who transported Ria May to Barangay Guadalupe from Barangay Look in Mando City, came forward. Marjun Carroll, a resident of Lapu-Lapu City, appeared at the Labangan police station on August 11th to clear his name. Carroll stated that he recently realized that Ria May was the passenger he had transported when he recognized his motorcycle in social media posts. He had no intention of hiding, explaining that he simply brought the passenger to Guadalupe for a fare of 300 pesos. On the dawn of July 16th, Carol took Tocmo from Barangay Look to Gilberto's residence. He even had to ask for directions from people on the streets. "I only found out yesterday, Thursday, August 10th, that my passenger had passed away. I knew there was a murder, but I didn't know that she was the passenger." This confirmation corroborated Ria May's presence at Gabutero's home prior to her death. Adding to this, Gabutero's mother also confirmed Ria May's presence at their place. She explained that she had left her apartment before Ria May arrived because Gabutero had told his family to leave as he would be having a female guest. When she returned an hour later to cook breakfast, she knocked on the door at 6 a.m. and found Gabutero alone and sweating when he answered. Later that evening at 7 p.m., she discovered a cardboard box and questioned Gabutero about its contents. He claimed it was filled with clothes. At 10 p.m., Gabutero asked his younger brother to help him move the box, still insisting it contained clothes. On August 14th, the police presented the evidence recovered to Ria May's relatives, proving that Simeon Gabutero was behind the killing. The evidence included the black jacket Gabutero wore, the red helmet and white jacket worn by his younger brother when he disposed of Ria May's body, as well as Gabutero's bag and the shirt he wore when he sold Ria May's cell phone. In a source statement, Simeon's younger brother recounted their journey. They were headed to city of Mohan, carrying a cardboard box that Simeon claimed held clothes. Little did the boy know he was partaking in the disposal of a body, which was found the following morning on the roadside of Mohan. The evidence began to stack up. CCTV footages, witness statements, and forensic evidence all pointed in one direction, towards Simeon Gabutero. Police Mayor Angelito Vallesar, the chief of the Labangan police station, confirmed that the recordings matched the timeline and actions described by Simeon's brother. The chilling truth was becoming undeniable. The wheels of justice began to turn. Cebu City Police Officer Director Colonel Ireneo Dalagdog announced that the murder case against Simeon Gabutero would proceed once all the necessary documents were in order. The victim's father, Romeo Tocmo, expressed his gratitude towards the police for their swift action in solving his daughter's murder. For Ria May's family, the pain was unbearable. Her sister, Roche Tocmo, Paul Bacon, and Grace Tocmo, initially filled with disbelief and sorrow, were eventually convinced of Gabutero's guilt. This conviction came after reviewing the evidence and hearing explanation. Their trust in the system brought a semblance of closure. The wound of loss would never truly heal. Further sealing Avatar's fate was a neighbor's affidavit. The neighbor had seen Simeon on July 17th, with several nail scratches on his arm. This observation aligned perfectly with the findings of the PNP forensic unit. They theorized that Ria May, in a desperate struggle for her life, had clawed at her attacker, leaving behind crucial DNA evidence under her fingernails. Tests confirmed that this DNA matched Gabutero's. On September 1, 2023, from his detention cell at the Labangan police station, Simeon Gabutero reiterated his confession, speaking directly to reporters. He said, "I killed Ria Mae Tocmo. I was not forced to admit it." A woman known only by the alias Bianca Lee took to social media and a radio show on August 31st, accusing Ria May's friend, Jewel Smith, of being involved in her killing. But Gabutero stood firm, stating he had never met Smith and these allegations were baseless. This once again prompted Police Major Angelito Vallesar to address the public directly. He urged anyone with genuine evidence to come forward through proper channels rather than spreading unverified claims online. Major Vallesar's appeal was clear. Justice can only be served through the correct legal processes, not through the court of public opinion. Meanwhile, lawyer Rufal Bonac, station manager of radio station DYHP, offered a reward of 100,000 pesos for any substantial evidence Bianca Lee claimed to have. However, no such evidence has surfaced, leading many to question the veracity of her statements. Gabutero's steadfast admission faced skepticism, with some alleging he was coerced to protect more influential figures. Major Vallesaro countered these claims, emphasizing the transparency and integrity of the investigation. Representatives from the Commission on Human Rights were present throughout, ensuring no force were used during Gabutero's confession. The legal machinery continued to move forward. On August 18, 2023, murder charges were officially filed against Gabutaro and his 15-year-old brother, who had admitted to aiding in disposing of the box containing Ria May's body. Despite the younger brother's lack of knowledge about the box's contents, his involvement in the disposal led to the charges. Major Valley Sar expressed confidence in the strength of the case against the Gabutaro brothers. He asserted that even if Simeon attempted to retract his confession, the overwhelming evidence gathered would uphold the charges. Amidst this firestorm of speculation and social discussion, we must remember it's a young woman who wanted to support her family and who had a full life ahead of her who lost her life. But the case of Rhea Mae Tocmo stands as a testament to the dedication of the law enforcement official who, despite heavy criticism, doubt, and controversy, worked tirelessly to seek the truth. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and comment. Until the next story.